All right, today I'm going to be showing you how to do the knock sensor replacement. Now you would be having P0 325 or P0 330, but in this one we have a code for P0 332. Something wrong with the circuit, low voltage, that the knock sensors aren't putting enough voltage or outputting enough voltage. Usually sometimes that the sensors, what happens is that water gets inside the dowel. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, basically it's a straightforward process. I would recommend to replace both knock sensors, the harness, and then the intake manifold gasket if you want to do it right. Shout out to Angelo for giving me the opportunity to work on the truck. So we'll make a video on that. So obviously we'll lift up the hood. We got to take off our whole intake. Now, this is a 2000 model, so the late 99 model when going into this body style. So it goes 99 to 2000, I believe 1 or 2 that it'll have the whole EGR process and all that stuff, or I mean the exhaust ports and all that, so these little diaphragms. Yeah, I mean, that's the only extra stuff that would probably be in the way. I think we can sneak this out. For you other people, it's going to be the same. You're not going to have the cables. It'll actually, for the newer ones and all that, this will be similar up to 07 of new body style trucks, and then up to 06. So from 2000 to, or late 99 to 2006 or 7, depending if it's a truck or if it's the SUVs. But yeah, any of the 5.3, the 4.8s. But if you haven't already, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future. And we're going to go ahead and start this video right after the intro. All right, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna go ahead and take off the intake inlet tube. So we got one flathead screwdriver, or you can use an 8mm. Same thing, vice versa right here. And then for obviously some of the ones that have the different valve cover or the different engine cover, you would just have one 8mm right here. But we have 1 and 2 bolts that we need to take off. For the ones that have the newer cover, this will have to come off first because this will be sitting over this, but you can actually take this off without taking off the cover. But you're still gonna have to take it off regardless, just because we gotta move some hoses around. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. It's gonna be a little fast forward process. So right here under this, you're gonna have to separate the hoses from the boot. Now we'll just kind of pry this back a little bit. Just like that. Once we separate that, I'll show you right now. All right, instead of end up taking it from right there, I had to take it off from right here. It's just, normally they would come out, but this one's on there pretty tight. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and just fix this right out. You know, you just squeeze it right in, just like that. You'll pull these back, and then they'll fix themselves. So just so you're aware, so just like that, pull these right back, and then you'll go ahead and squeeze this right in. I'll fix that later. I won't fix that showing that, but yeah. All right, so we're gonna have to take off a few other things. Now basically how I wanna do this little setup, we are gonna take off these little connectors. You'll just pull these tabs just like that. I hate doing this model year for the knock sensors just because there's so much stuff that's in the way. I didn't disconnect the battery because we're not gonna be obviously touching any positive wires, but I mean, obviously you'd have one 8mm disconnecting that, but again, I'm not doing that. We'll go ahead and disconnect this connector. Now this Evap purge solenoid looks like it's already been replaced. So what you do is right here for this guy, you would squeeze it. This is not the original one, so The other one's just a tad bit different. So you would just push right in. Let me get that to focus. So right there, there's this little tab, and then they have the open end. So push right in and then just wiggle it right out, and then you can get that out the way just like that. Then we'll have our cable right here. We can just unbolt it, maybe move it to the side. Sorry, I'm just trying to think to myself, it's been a while since I've done one of these. For this guy, you could probably disconnect it from right here. Let's see, hopefully it doesn't break. Yeah, we're gonna separate it from right there. That would be this hose. Again, for some of you, you're not gonna have these hoses. Obviously this is the hose that's right there. And we'll just tuck this right up in there. And then we have our fuel injector harness that we need to disconnect. So these tabs right there, you just pull up the gray tabs just like that. And then I'll show you right now example, but we would pull off the PCV hose. Some of you, they'll probably be connected to the intake. This one's connected straight directly to the throttle body. And for the newer ones of you guys, the PCV hose is going to be connected to the intake. You can take off the throttle body with the intake. I'm going to be separating the throttle body from the intake just because I have coolant lines going to the throttle body. If you have coolant lines going through the throttle body, you'd have this hose that's going right here to right here on the bottom of the throttle body. Now for the other ones, they would have a coolant hose going from here straight to this little coolant port that goes right here, and then it would jump over to the other cylinder head. But they just made it go through the throttle body, and we're not gonna worry about that. So I'm just gonna unbolt one. There's 3 10 millimeters that are holding it, so one right up here, one right there, and then one on the other side right there. And those are, again, all 10 millimeters. Now I think I'm gonna have to disconnect the EGR pipes. What I'm gonna do on this one, I'm gonna take off this 10 millimeter that's right there, and I'm gonna take off that 15 millimeter in the beginning, and I'm gonna see if I'm able to just take it off just like that. And there's one right up there, and then there's one on the bottom right here. So yeah, so those are the 2 bolts that are holding in that bracket. I'm gonna take off these 2 bolts right there, and then again that 10, and I'm just gonna see if I'm able to move it. We'll go ahead and disconnect this connector right now, and then if that doesn't move, I'm gonna have to go ahead and disconnect it from the exhaust pipe right there itself on the manifold. So you can see it where that pipe leads down to, right down there, that little 10 millimeter. You'd have to get some O-rings for those. What else? Oh yeah, back to the injector connector. So once you pull up these little tabs just like that, so you would hear them click. Then right here for the newer ones, it's a little bit different. The tabs are usually a lot more harder to pull up, but I mean, you can get them going. So once you pull this up, you unlock them, and then you're gonna press that little black tab that's in between, that's right there. So you're just gonna press this one that's right there, push in, and then pull out. So push in. Yeah, sometimes these guys are a pain in the butt, so let's see if I can. So yeah, get this. I think you gotta pull it just a tad bit more to get it unlocked. So once you get it right there, then you should be good. So you see how just like right there, it's not fully out, but sometimes they'll pop out with them. It's not the end of the day if these break, these gray ones. Yeah, it's not the end of the day. So we're gonna go ahead and pop all of those, and then for the throttle cable, I think we might just unbolt it from right here and then move it with the throttle body along with this 2 10s right here. So we'll have 1 10. There's a second one. Then 1 2 3. I think those are 10. No, maybe. Those are 8. Yeah, those are 8. Yeah, so these ones are 8, and then those ones are 10s. So 8, 3 8s, 2 10s. Now, for some of you that are very forgetful, I would recommend on putting back the bolts in the same designated place. For the newer ones, the map sensor is not going to be right there. So, but this one has a map sensor, so we're going to go ahead and disconnect the map sensor. Move that out the way. Then here's our knock sensor harness that's right here. Same thing. Make sure you pop that out the place. You'll pull it towards you and then lift up this little tab. And we'll go ahead and pull that right back out. All right. Now we're gonna pull up the whole fuel injector rail with the intake manifold. It makes it more easier. We don't need to separate it on that. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and just fast forward just a little bit process, me taking off all the injector connectors. And the same thing for the throttle body. We're gonna do all that. So for this guy right here, we're just gonna get a pick. I'm just gonna pop this guy right out. See if I can pick it out from right there. And as you pick out one side, I think you should be able to sneak it right out. As for the other one, you literally just pop out the hook, you push it down, and then it should be able to pop right out. Then we'll just go ahead and just move this guy to the side. Make sure it doesn't hit any positives right here. Now we're gonna go ahead and take off the throttle body. So now that we got this disconnected, we're gonna go ahead and just pull it right back. It is gonna be a little bit tight. You're just gonna wiggle it right up on out. See if we can get this hose. All right, so I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. So I took off just the 3 bolts. That was it. We are gonna have to take off the coolant line, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So we're gonna go ahead and take off that little clamp that's right behind the alternator. So I'm gonna see if I can access it with just these clips or so now that we got that hose clamp off, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just pull this right back. Now that'll give me enough room, or now it's 8. Yeah, that gave me like a little bit more slack, but I'm still gonna keep on the hose clamp just because I don't wanna have any coolant leak out. So we'll just have this sitting right here to the side. If we need to take this off, then we'll go ahead and take off the throttle body. Sorry if my head was in the way or my arm. It's just, it was a little tight spot to get in the hose clamp. So let's go ahead and take off this 10mm, and I think there's one more. I think it's just only one, but we'll just take off that one. Good on that. And we'll just move this one over to the side like every other one. You can move over to the side and you'll have better access. But we'll just put this right back because we're gonna take off the brake booster hose, if you can see that. So we'll take off this hose right here. It will make a suction sound. So just like that. If you don't hear a suction sound, then probably your brake booster is bad. Or your little diaphragm's bad or the check valve right here. That's bad. We'll just sneak this right up on out. Then we're gonna take off this PCV hose right back there. You can just literally lift it right up. Some of you might have a hose clamp. and the PCV hose won't be in the valve cover. It'll just lift right up. Again, these are for the older models. Then we have the gas line. We just need to lift these up. There's two on this one. There's a return and a feed line. For the newer ones, you're just only gonna have one line. So I'll go ahead and show you that right now. So for these guys, you're gonna have a little hook. So this hook will sit just like this, or just like that. So this will go inside the fuel rail, and this will sit right over it. Now that's to keep it from popping it right out. So I just want to make sure you see how I took that off. So that first goes in, then like that. So you lift up the back, and then you pull it towards you, and voila. All right, so we're gonna be using a 3/8 quick disconnect. So basically this is a butterfly, and as you can see right there, the part number is 27318. Now this would come in a kit, but this letter is number D in the kit. Now this comes in the master quick disconnect fuel line kit. So yeah, it's a very simple tool. Again, it's a butterfly. This either 5/16 or 3/8. So the one with the 3/8 is going to be the one with the bigger hole. And now we're going to go ahead and put that over the fuel line. So when you're disconnecting the fuel line, now remember this, you will be having fuel being sprayed out. We're gonna come up from right here. Literally, you're gonna squeeze the clamp until it rides over the fuel line, and then you're gonna push in, spin it around, and pull the fuel line towards yourself too. And then as soon, you can kind of tell once you pull the fuel line towards the tool, while pushing the tool towards the fuel line, you can feel it go over the tool itself. So now I'm gonna pull the fuel line back. Again, watch out for your eyes. And fuel might come out, fuel might not. Now the top one is going to be 3/8 and the bottom one is going to be a 5/16. All right, so here's the other fuel line hose. That's the 5/16. So we'll go ahead and lift this tab right up. It's like that. Pull it out the way. Then we're going to be using the smaller end now. That's the 5/16. Now we're going to go ahead and push in and then grab the fuel line and then pull towards it. Sorry, it's kind of a little difficult with the camera right there. So I'm gonna grab the fuel line, and then you're gonna wiggle the tool around, and then once you feel it clip right in, you can pull it back. And then voila, just like that. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it's just, sorry about the camera angles. Now you can't get these hoses mixed up. Here's the 3/8. Now if you put this in there, literally it'll just be all loose and it'll come right out. So again, don't be worried about these guys. You can try to put some caps right here just to cover these to stop it from leaking. Now we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the remaining of the fuel lines or the injector lines. Now, the same way how we disconnected the Evap hose, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect it in the back because it's gonna be in the way when I pull out the intake manifold. Now, for the newer ones, you aren't gonna have to worry about that. Now, this sits behind the driver's side cylinder head. Again, it's the same exact setup as you took off the other one. But once you take off that one, you're just gonna have to, you can wiggle it right out. So right there, you're just gonna squeeze it. Now this one's in a little bit more tight spot, so this one's like that. Now you gotta squeeze out this way. Again, this is aftermarket, so yours might be a little bit different. So. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pull out this hose. So we can go ahead and just squeeze it down just a little bit and move it out the way. Just like that. If you need to, you can clean out the carbon, which I will do a little bit later on. Just like that, yeah. So just clean this up with the wire brush, so forth. Now, the other fun part, it's not that bad actually. We're gonna take off, I think there's 10 8mm. So this will be the same as the other one. So we're gonna have one, don't get it confused for the upper ones. We just wanna take off the lower one. So we got 1, 2, 3, There's a fourth one, and then the fifth one is right back there. Same thing, 1, 2, 3. It's right under this little bracket, so we need to take off. See right there? Oh yeah, we can just take it off without taking out the bracket. So yeah, there's the other two, and then yeah, we'll go ahead and loosen those up. Again, those are all 8mm. Alright, so now we're pretty much ready to take off the intake. We're gonna go ahead and move this harness right over. I don't think anything else should be in the way. Now again, this harness is pretty hard. So we're gonna go ahead and just lift up away. Now I know for some of you, like, hey, there's a lot of dirt falling inside the intakes. If it's dirt, I don't care. We can blow it out. Dirt's not gonna damage the valves. Hard stuff will, like rocks and all that stuff. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and just lift up away. All right, so now we have easy access to our knock sensor. All right, so again, here's the knock sensor harness itself. Now for the newer ones, you're not gonna have an issue. I know one of the plastics just flew in there. Again, this can break down easy. The valve cannot be destroyed by that. I will still blow it out still. And then same thing like for that. It's up to you guys if you guys want to put rags in here. I'm going to be knocking out this stuff pretty quick. So yeah, I'm going to clean up all of this. So I'm going to help out Angelo, make sure this is all detailed. So when he ever wants to do the valve cover gaskets, that he could clean up all this. Now you can get a vacuum, whatever. I'm gonna clean this all up for Angelo, and then whenever he wants to do the valve cover, that this area is all nice and clean for you. So but yeah, we'll pull these out. If you wanted to, now is a great time to replace your oil pressure switch, which is right here. Again, it's not the end of the world. You can do it with the intake manifold on. Sorry, it wasn't showing that, but yeah, there it is. Oil pressure switch right here. So these guys, you just literally lift right up. It should stretch out the wire, and there's a little tab right here. As you can see, just squeeze on both sides, I believe. Oh no, this one's just one. So we'll squeeze it. I don't care about the tab or the wire harness because we're going to be replacing that. Now if you don't replace that, you're being cheap and you're going to do the job twice. Oh yeah, sorry, the tabs are on the side. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pull off these tabs. Again, if they come out pretty easy, which mine aren't, so you can rock them back and forth. Can't get them out, just try pulling them out. We can get some pliers. I don't really care about these. So just like that, we're gonna break that little piece. Then I think it's a 27 or 24 millimeter that we got to take these off. It's been a while since I've done one of these. We're going to go ahead and repeat the same thing for this one. There's water in this one. So you see how when I was telling you about how water would get in there, that's probably why this one's bad and shot out. That's why it's producing low voltage. So yeah, we found our main culprit. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this up. I'm gonna pull that out, and then once we get to everything, I'm gonna show the part of pulling these out, and then but I'm just gonna clean up everything first and so forth. All right, so I thought the sizes were either 24 or 27. I was completely wrong. They are 22. So we're gonna be using a deep socket. Not that I don't think you would need a deep socket, but so let's go ahead and do this. So you just pretty much lefty-loosey, and it doesn't take that much force just to take these out. So you're gonna spin these out, pull it out. Now inspect the area. This one I have like a little bit of water in it, so when I did do that, that one had a lot of water in that one. But yeah, I already blew out all the water on both sides. So let me go ahead and just pull this one out. So that one doesn't really have any water in it, but what we're gonna go ahead and do, you're gonna get a brake cleaner, spray it on a rag. So just like this, so we'll spray brake cleaner on the rag itself. Go over our area, make sure we clean up all inside. If you have an air compressor, perfect. We clean all that up. Now we're ready to go ahead and install our new knock sensors. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put in our new knock sensors. So we're just gonna lay them down, spin them in. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and tighten these down. Now you don't need to tighten these a lot. If I remember correctly, I think it was like 10 to 14 foot-pounds of torquing these down, so it's really not that much. So literally, I'm just gonna tighten them down just like that. And that's pretty much it. It doesn't take a whole lot to keep those bolted down. If you bolt them down too much, you'll damage the sensor, which I see a lot. Once you damage it, then I mean you got to do all that work again, which is not that hard. It's really easy to do this. So now we're gonna go ahead and install our knock sensor wire harness. Here it is by Dorman. There's a part number 917033. So we have two wires. Obviously the one that's longest is gonna go towards us. So obviously, let me get this zoomed out. So right here we can see, as you can see this, we're pretty good on moving this. So we're gonna go ahead and connect these in first. Don't forget, you need silicone for this job. So the blue one's gonna be all the way out here. So we got green and blue. Green is gonna be in the back and blue is gonna be up front. So all right, so we're gonna go ahead and connect these right now. Now, when you're connecting these, you can either squeeze these right in, just like that, or just push them down till they clip. Same thing for the other one. Now make sure you hear both of them click. All right, so I'm gonna be using the right stuff. You can use like the black silicone, doesn't really matter. All right, so let's zoom in on this. Now we just need a coat of silicone that we're gonna just drive right here. So we just need to put a decent amount of silicone. And we're gonna go ahead and push this guy right down. And then whatever little excessive silicone, you'll just put it right around the wire. So just in case some gets in there. So we're gonna do the same thing for the other one. And then you're gonna have the wire harness sit right out here and make sure it doesn't get pinched. So we'll have it go along this. Make sure it's not over here, because if you pinch it right there, you're gonna screw yourself over. All right, so coming up from the intake where the fuel lines are at, we want to lift it up away. So we don't want to lift it down unless you want that fuel out. So we're just gonna lift it up this way, and then we're just gonna pull these tabs. On both sides is gonna be like that. So there should be one right there, one right here, and then one on the other side. And then we'll just wiggle these right out. And then same thing we'll do for the other side. And then remember how these go. Pretty easy, nothing crazy. And then we're gonna clean up our area with brake cleaner. So I'm gonna put brake cleaner on a rag and just wipe down this area. And then yeah, we're gonna get back to the installation. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do in our intake gasket. The one I'm using is by Felpro. Now this is a newer design that I am using, which is kind of weird, but it's kind of nice in a way too. So these guys, they sit right in the head bolts. Hopefully I don't have an issue with these guys right here lining up. They're like little nipples right there. I don't know if you can see those. So those little nipples right there, hopefully I don't have an issue. So basically, obviously the way how you're gonna slide these in, there is no wrong way. So basically right here where these bolt holes, those are gonna go into the head bolts. So make sure those guys are cleaned up. So once you seat them in. We're just gonna wiggle it right in there. You're gonna push down on where the head bolts are at and make sure that they fully seat in. So you're gonna work your way down to the bottom, and then that's pretty much it. Now for the other one that you saw me take off, if you're using the OEM one, you just clip them right back in and then so forth, that they'll stay on and that they'll be present. I mean, this kind of design is pretty nice because it's not gonna move, it's gonna be stationary and so forth. Now also the other thing is too, we can replace the EGR gasket. Now this manifold set does come with a new one. Yeah, so I mean this is not clogged, so I'm not gonna really deal with it right now. But yeah, so remember how this guy goes in. So the solid part is gonna be facing towards the intake, and the one with the indentation is gonna be facing towards right there. So let's get this guy right here. So again, indentation. So right there, how you can see it has that little lip. So indentations are going to be going inside, just like that. And there we have it. All right, cool beans. So we're going to go ahead and clean up the throttle body. I'm going to clean up that, and then we're going to go ahead and load up the intake. All right, so here's the sensor wire harness that I was talking about. Just so you know, it goes right along right here, and then I have it sitting back there. So, and then also here's that little Evap hose that I was talking about. That's where it connects to. So you just follow this little bracket and it'll be right there. All right, so let's go ahead and install this bad boy. All right, so remember to keep up your brake booster hose and then your PCV hose out the way when we're installing this. So I want to make sure I don't hurt my back during this process. I already pulled it once. So I lift up this harness. Now be careful with your map sensor that we don't destroy it. Right. And then make sure nothing's in the way, which it already is. Alright, so we got that out the way. Then we got brake booster out the way. And then we'll just move our throttle body. Alright, so once you get it all set in, which I have it all set in, you can move it back and forth and it won't move, and we're all set and done. Now that's if you have the bolts already kind of all flat down. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and thread them in all by hand. Now you kind of want to work your way in from the middle. So you go, out of the 10 bolts, you'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, just kind of stop going on opposite ends. So just make sure you thread them all in. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put in our EGR port. So we'll just bend that right in there. And then we'll just leave it just like that. We're gonna take off our throttle body gasket. Now that whole gasket kit came with the new throttle body. There's two throttle body gaskets. Now we just need the one for the Well, mine's gonna be for this year, and then yours is probably gonna for the newer guys. You're gonna have the O-ring. So this is for the newer model, the O-ring type, and then obviously the one that we're using is this one. And then we're gonna go ahead and put in our throttle body too. We'll just bolt this guy right down. Well, we'll leave it unbolted. Then I'll get my hose clamp. So I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but I'll see if I can move this out the way. Now this does kind of make it a little bit difficult. So I can't take this off if my life depended on it, or pried it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and bolt down our throttle body. So I'm just gonna put the 3 bolts that are in there. So we're gonna put the one up on top, and then we're gonna put the 2 that are down below. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take off our top bolts right here that I put back on. We're gonna go ahead and put this wire harness on. So that's how pretty much that harness should look like, just like that. We got it seated right in there. We're gonna have our connector that's hanging out right there. That's for our knock sensor harness. Then we're gonna go ahead and connect our map sensor. Now we're gonna start focusing on this area right here. So make sure you thread in everything in by hand. So we're gonna put this 10mm bolt, and then we're gonna put the 2 15mm bolts that are on the EGR bracket right there down below. Sorry about the camera view. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and connect our PCV hose. Get that guy right up in there. Then now we'll go ahead and connect our injector harness.
And then we'll connect this this hose right here. And I think we're all done for the the passenger side. We'll connect this map sensor. Then we're gonna grab our knock sensor harness that I have all the way hidden down below. And then we're gonna clip this right in. Right there, just like that. Have this bad boy connected in. All right, looking good. Now we'll go ahead and connect our 5/16 is going to be the smaller one. We'll connect that one in first, and then I think for these guys, one's going to be bigger than the other. Let me see. They look about the same, so yeah, I don't think it should matter. So remember that those little hooks first go in. Same thing. Oh, butterfingers. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and connect our injector harness. All right, let's check this out. So we got all of these connected. There's like one clip that broke right there, so not the end of the world. We are gonna hook up our Evap hose. So again, the way how we had it, we went in up, just like that. And then we spent it around once we got right over there. Once I get it right up under the fuel line hoses. And once we get it right up under there, we got our PCV hose. We'll put this right back there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and connect that. Oh, this is kind of off. And then we will put our hand right there so I can get this clipped in. It's kind of hard to see, but you're just gonna push down till you hear it clip. So remember, it's behind this little bracket that's right here, right there in front of the fuel rail. All right, so now that we got that in, we're gonna go ahead and move over our cable line bracket, and then right under we're gonna bring in our brake booster hose. We'll plug that right in, because if we don't, we'll get a lean code right away. Oh, I think that went under. Yeah, that went under. And then we'll connect our PCV hose. That goes right back there. Or PCV, I meant. Alright, then we'll get our wire harness. Put it right over here. We'll connect that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and connect these guys. Just connected our alternator harness. We'll connect that. We'll connect this. And this piece. And then we'll go ahead and connect our Evap connector. And then for our throttle cable, some of you might have electric. I forgot to mention that earlier. And then so forth. Once we connect this guy right back in, you just literally just push it right in, and voila. We'll go ahead and bolt this guy right down. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put in our intake. Put it down this way first, and then we'll put this piece. You'll kind of know it, nose dive in first. Connect our connector for our mass airflow sensor, tighten these two bolts. And then we're gonna put on our engine cover. Let me double check everything. We are good to go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start the car. We're gonna put the key on the on position. Now remember, we have to prime up the system with fuel. So prime it up a couple times because we had it emptied out. So you shouldn't be getting any misfire issues or anything. I have the check engine light because that was already on there previously, but let's say if you clear the codes and the check engine light does come on, make sure you double check all your connector issues and all that. But other than that, engine's running nice and great. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up. Angelo, thanks for the work. I appreciate everything. It's a late last minute job and stuff. Got to this pretty late. Comment down below if you have any questions regarding this video, and hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future. And thanks for watching.